Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
5 young mutants. Wait, hold on. I'm going to delay that and start it over again. 5 young mutants. Just kidding. 5 young mutants just discovering their abilities while held in a secret facility against their will fight to escape their past sins and save themselves. Does that really encapsulate this film, though?
No.
Not
We all
really.
waited so long.
We waited so long. And you had to wait
For
an extra
this.
week for this episode because we couldn't
Yes.
record last week. We are
Sorry.
terribly sorry. We
There's
did not
a-
mean to do that. We were not trying
A
to be funny, I
strange
swear.
coincidence.
It's not a planned thing.
No.
No.
We really didn't want to have to take last week off, but we did. But we are back now, and finally,
Unlike the New Mutants that had 6 different release dates.
Yes.
6 release dates, and I believe we covered them all on Scary Nerd.
Imagine being pregnant and then you go to the doctor and they're like, I'm sorry, you're not going to have the baby until this
Due
time
date's
now.
not until
Sorry,
this date.
this is
Oh,
your- this is
fuck
your real
that.
due date.
No,
Like,
I'd be
It
like,
just keeps changing.
Nope, take this
I'm
baby
sorry.
out of me. is
I'm
what
sorry.
needs to
This
happen.
doctor's office is being taken over by a different doctor's office. We're going to have to push back your baby's release date again.
That's right. That's what it was. The victim to was the Disney takeover of Fox for the
Yes.
most part, and then COVID.
COVID
So-
Fox.
And then COVID happened.
COVID Fox sounds like a good villain.
It does. COVID,
COVID
Fox.
Fox.
But let's get into this New Mutants, this X-Men story.
Yes.
I'm not really into the X-Men. I was when I was younger because I watched the cartoons and then, of course, the movies. And I didn't get into the newer movies. I was like the 2000 movies.
I am like big on
Yes,
X-Men.
Saul's our resident comic book nerd because Paul and I are not comic book
No.
nerds.
And X-Men was my thing. And I've been reading their comics since I was probably about 14, 15 years old.
Okay, so first question that I wanted to ask you guys right off the bat, is this a horror movie? Saul,
No.
Paul.
I'm going to caveat this with a few things.
Oh, we're getting fancy words
Okay.
from Paul.
I feel that if we let Josh Boone do what he wanted to do, it would have definitively not been questionable about whether it was a horror movie or not. With that being said, I know there was a lot of studio interference. I mean, aside from the actual let's move it back and
Yeah.
deals and mergers and shit like that.
Yeah, you mean story-wise.
Story-wise, like the studio was like, no, it's too much of a horror. Change things. So,
Yes.
which is why we had reshoots and whatever. So, you can tell the horror elements. And even watching this movie, there were areas I'm like, yeah, he probably expanded on that, and that was more horror-like, and this and that. So, you definitely see the bones of horror in this movie, but it is not definitively a horror movie the way that it is.
It
Okay,
had-
that was a 3-minute answer to the quick 2-second response
It's
that I
not a
wanted.
2-second response because there's extenuating circumstances with this, and I guarantee you he'd be the first one to be like, yes, there is. He quoted in IMDb as saying he felt neutered with what all the changes they were making.
Well,
So
Paul and Josh Boone feel very strongly again with this movie.
I think this would have been a great fucking horror movie.
It could have been.
If they left it the way that I mean, from what I've read that he's said about it, not specifics, but the way that he wanted to do it, it was a horror first and, a superhero movie second.
Yeah.
So I think if he would have pulled it off the way that he wanted to, it would have been a great
Now,
horror movie.
do we know?
See, I remember when the first trailers hit, I got that impression. It seemed like it was going to be a horror movie with superheroes in it. To me, knowing what the New Mutants and all that stuff is, I was a little turned off by it. But now that I actually seen it, I think I would have been more intrigued if it actually would have been that. If it would have been a more horror movie with superhero elements to it.
You know what? We need to start a petition for a director's cut because I want to see the horror version.
Because what it ended up being is it ended up being a superhero movie with small but not much horror elements to it.
Yeah, I didn't find this horror at all.
I mean, but could you see the bones though?
I could see the
You could
bones,
see
and
the-
I can see a lot of homages,
Yeah.
like the shower scenes and like the classic horror thematics, right? Like, and everybody compared it to Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, and I kind of saw those little hints, but it it gave me blue balls, I guess, horror blue balls, because I just didn't finish with the horror.
Yeah.
They set everything up there, and I think that they had a lot, like, they could have done so much more with the religious horror of Rain's character, of the Wolfbane character, because, like...
Reverend Craig.
Even that Reverend, I was like, okay, you're the fucking guy, you're the shoe guy from Criminal Minds. I already think that you're crazy.
He's the shoe masturbator.
You're not Criminal Minds, Mindhunter. Sorry,
yeah.
getting my FBI.
He was in Bird Box as well.
Yes,
he was the guy in
was.
the creek that tries to get in the boat with her.
So I'm like, give me more of that creepiness. You know, somebody coming at you with a fucking hot iron. That's creepy.
See, I know,
give me more of that.
Okay, if they would have made this one simple change to me, and it would have been a great horror movie. If instead of them having to face this big fucking bear at the end, they had to face like
all of their own demons,
shit, like individually, and like then they could help each other, because then it would have been more like Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
And now I'm okay with that. And I think they probably underutilized. I mean, that guy is a great actor. We don't remember his name, but Reverend Craig.
Reverend
I mean, he's a
Craig.
great actor.
He had one scene.
And he pulled it off. I mean,
Yeah.
it reminded me a lot of the scenes in Gothica when the cop guy, I forget his name, the bald dude who's been in a million things. He was the guy that
taught his face to make cheese.
Yes, he was the cheesemaker in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That also knew the. Is it not Jiu-Jitsu? It's fucking.
Tai Chi, no. The stick stuff.
What's the stick stuff? Come on, goddammit. You guys watch Walking Dead.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the
With
name
Morgan.
of it.
He
He
taught him
teaches
the
Morgan
He
the-
taught Morgan the stick.
His
is what he
Donatello
did.
sticks?
Yes, his
Yeah,
Donatello sticks.
Anyway, he played the cop that was abusing Penelope Cruz's character in the mental
Yeah,
hospital.
he played her husband's.
The husband's cop friend. Or
No, the husband's-
the other serial killer, his partner.
His
whatever.
partner. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it reminded me a lot of those scenes when they're in there, and especially the night that Halle Berry's character sees the tattoo for the first time.
Yeah, where it's kind of coming in and out of like the flashes.
Yeah.
I see that route. And Gothica is such a great movie, and I did love this movie for all the like the dark hallways and the creepy hospital and those kinds of things. But it got too bogged down in like their powers, I think, and it also like it could have been longer. I feel like it could have been longer and explored some storylines better, and I still would have been interested. I feel like a lot of the things just got cut short and kind of reworked in a way that took away from the overall story of it as well.
That's what I'm saying. If there's a director's cut,
And I really want to
there
know
should
who
be.
came after, which studio was it that said reshoots? Was it Fox or was it
well,
Disney?
if we look
Well,
at
here's
the
the-
timeline here, they did
here's
the
the thing.
reshoots in February, and the Disney deal wasn't done until August of 2019. So I'm going to assume it was Fox and all their smartness, which led them to having to
Fox
sell
always
everything.
has that
No,
shit.
here's the story behind it.
Now, do we know this is fact or is this rumor?
This is these are a lot of the things that I've read of what happened, why
Okay.
the reshoots happened. When Dark Phoenix hit and how shit of a movie that was, they got scared.
Now, Dark Phoenix was also one that they acquired in the deal, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Dark Phoenix had already
they didn't
been shot.
shoot that. They
Dark
didn't do
Phoenix
anything
had been
with it.
shot, done, and finished, edited, and whatever need be. When they did their test
People
screen,
hated that.
when they did the test screenings of Dark Phoenix, they realized, oh shit, we got a crap movie.
Yeah.
So then they started worrying about, oh shit, is New Mutants going to be this bad? They had screened it for a couple people before. They liked it. They said it was good, it was dark, it was scary. But when Dark Phoenix hit, they just got the avalanche of the shitstorm that it
They
was.
got scared, yeah.
They got scared and they're like, we don't want to have a repeat of what Dark Phoenix was. We want to at least try to make other ones. So because of that, let's change it so it's not what Dark Phoenix was.
And I'm just reading one of these things that producer Kim wrote down. It is the shortest X-Men film at 94 minutes. Like, see, it could have been longer.
Yeah.
They could have explored more storylines. Like, I really love when they start taking, like, when they take Sam back into the
coal?
mine.
Yeah.
In the coal mine. I'm like, this works because
See,
it's like creepy.
Very creepy,
Yes.
very
Yes.
horror-like scene.
And I love how
that,
they were all kind of
it just-
faceless, but they
Yeah.
weren't. Like, they were
Yeah.
just covered in stuff. And like, and I love how everybody in a movie, when they start going through that and everybody starts looking at them, they always keep walking straight. I'm like, nope, my ass would turn around and be like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
this is the wrong hallway for me. I gotta go. I got somewhere else to be right now. But yeah, when he gets to the end and he sees his dad, like, that was a creepy moment.
Yeah.
And it shows like him freak out, but then we don't really get much else from Sam. I feel like that's the longest we see him on screen,
Yeah,
except as like a
and you
side
get-
character.
Everyone gets their little moment like that. And then it's like, but you get that little hint of like what their deal was from their past or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like who they killed, basically.
they killed,
Because that's basically what it came down to. Is like they all killed somebody one way or fucking another, basically.
Yeah, and what they were all valuable in some way to the Essex Corporation.
And again, me knowing my comic book knowledge on this, they did stay true to how they all got their powers. Like, what made the New Mutant special or different from everybody else is when their powers manifested, it either hurt somebody or killed somebody. So Sam, when he was working in the coal mines when he was a kid, he was having kind of like a little mini panic attack or whatever need be.
Yeah.
And mutant powers.
He was underground, yeah.
Yeah, mutant powers triggered under stress or whatever need be.
So it's like when you're a mutant, instead of having a wet dream, like your power comes out and kills people. So
kinda, yeah.
Roberto got horny and torched his girlfriend. So
Pretty
happens.
much.
Poor Roberto, like you could just get boners for no fucking reason. Like, what if you just start getting hot all of a sudden? You're just a fucking sunspot.
I know. Does that mean you can't even beat off or anything? You're
it just evaporates when it
Roasted
comes out,
wiener.
right? A roasted wiener. But he wouldn't roast because he is the
Yeah.
sunspot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he needs to find.
But like you could
someone
just
that
get a
can heal
random boner
quickly.
at school and then you're just on
I know,
fire.
like, why was it
walking
that?
around?
Okay, because I mean, we don't know how long he was there, or whatever. But he's
Yeah.
clearly, 18, 19-ish, maybe, whatever, right? So why was it that was like the first time he was with his girlfriend when the powers came out?
They're supposed to be younger, actually.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
so
supposed
they're
to
all-
be
the
younger.
comics.
All of them, when their powers manifested, they were anywhere from the ages of 13, 14, or 15. Right when you're about to hit puberty. So the way it is with the comics is as soon as you hit puberty, your powers manifest.
Well, Wolfbane
makes sense.
Rain
Yeah.
looks, 13, but that's just.
She just looks young.
So yeah, they're all supposed to be kids. They're all supposed
And
to be.
Danny, I did not know that. I looked it up, but
Mm-hmm.
Danny becomes Mirage. I did not know that because they didn't like.
They
They
didn't say it,
did
yeah.
her power so weird that they kind of hid it until the end.
Well, again, because I knew her powers, I'm like, it's going to be her who's going to be doing all of this.
Yeah.
And at one point in the movie, I looked at Kim and I told her, "Have you figured it out yet?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Have you figured out why everything's going on?"
Yeah, because she's kind of like cerebral in a
Yeah.
kind of a way, right? Because she can
Yeah.
put things into people's visions.
Well, that's
and
what her
shit.
that's what
Yeah.
her power is like you could see that when they started having their visions is she makes people's fears manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the way they set it up too, it's like it's not even that hard to figure out because it's
Yeah.
like the first day or two, and it's like, oh, all this weird stuff's happening. Like, okay, then it's probably the new person here.
Yeah.
Well, that again,
And I
that-
feel like they didn't question their existence in
Yeah.
this place very much either.
They're kids, though. Would
yeah,
you?
they're kids.
Like you come
Okay.
to in a hospital setting, and you're gonna be like, okay, I'm in a hospital because of what just happened, and there's this doctor.
But this doctor tells you that there was a tornado and everyone died except for you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, okay, well, I have an aunt that lives in this other state. Can we call her?
Can we call her? Can I go there?
Can I call my friends? Like, no, everyone's dead. Like everyone.
Everyone. There was a tornado in that other state
Yeah,
too.
like everywhere. So yeah, I don't know. Like they didn't question anything. And to be like, no, they just bought into it like too easily.
Yeah, the Dr. Reyes character, I was like, they are just trusting her because she's the only doctor. I'm like, if
She's
I
really the only authority figure.
if I
there.
had woken
She
up,
was the only person there besides them. So
if
I'm
I
like,
had woken up in a hospital, right, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a hospital, and I see doctors and stuff, I'm like, okay, but if there's no orderlies, there's no nurses, and I'm like, this obviously ain't a fucking hospital. Like something is
like,
suspect
what is
here.
going on?
and I really think that it's like how much was she supposed to know about her powers? Because obviously she knew she had something. She knew that there was something about her.
Danny?
Yeah.
Yes, like she had to have known there was something. Because why would you just go into this like you're a mutant and you killed everyone and you're going to stay here with these other people now? And
Well,
that's
I
just-
think
that's
they
just life.
all suspect it because even when Rain is talking when she goes to group for the first time.
Well, but she knows when she tells the story about her killing the guy. She's like, I went to the priest.
she's talking about the first time she let her powers go. That's what the whole group session is about.
Yeah.
And she's talking about running through the woods, and she's like, it felt right because she let her powers go, but she knew it was wrong. So like they've all kind of had it from the beginning. I think like they all knew from birth, kind of thing, that they were different in some way. but they always knew to like hide them or not let them show until puberty when you can no longer do that.
With Rain, though, hers was different because the only reason why she knew it felt wrong was because she was beaten over the head with religious stuff. And you know how religious people are is if you do anything that's not the way it's supposed to be, it feels like it's supposed to be wrong. So.
I don't know. I was always a rebel, though. I would have been like, it ain't in the Bible, bitch. Tell me where it's wrong. Tell me where I'm not supposed to transform into something else in this
so
Bible.
you're telling me there's unicorns in the Bible, but wolves aren't okay?
Werewolves aren't okay. And it's not even a werewolf. She can just go.
Because, like, I mean, with her, it was Catholic guilt. Like, I mean, if you've known any Catholic, they always
yeah.
teach.
She's from fucking Ireland
And
as
she's
well.
from Ireland,
That doesn't help.
Yeah, they teach you that. It's Catholic guilt. So that's what she was feeling about how she said she knew it felt so good, but it was wrong.
And then she literally got beat over the head
if you're-
with something later.
If you're an Irish Catholic from Ireland, all you know is potatoes and guilt.
Potatoes
Yes.
guilt. Well, and Dairy Girls, they knew a lot of stuff, okay?
But Danny, she had to have known something or nothing. So if
No,
you're
I
saying,
think she knew because I think that's where the whole wolf thing. I think or not the wolf, the bear thing came from. I think that's why her dad told her the bear story because he knew.
okay,
He could have.
then note to anyone, like, just like they did in Ghostbusters with Stay Puffed, if someone has powers you need to manifest, don't pick a huge fucking bear. Like,
Yeah,
maybe that's
just
the
don't pick a
smartest
bear.
idea. Like, I know, like, change the story to there was a little chihuahua.
And try not to make your child afraid of their own powers because that's what it did. It like the bear came out as fear and started attacking Danny because she was so scared of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick a story about something small and cuddly that you can kick easily.
Yeah.
A
What was it
rabbit,
in
a
it
bunny.
chapter 2? Wasn't it
The
a
Pomeranian.
Pomeranian? There you go.
Or Shih Tzu? I don't know.
Oh, wait, never mind.
It
The
still
bunny thing
worked.
might-
They could have kicked it.
The
Though.
bunny thing might fire back because of Monty Python.
Yeah, that's true. Oy.
Still a bunny versus like a huge fucking bear.
Yeah,
It's like a-
but I love the whole little like hospital things that they do, like when they have mutant group and
Yeah.
they're just like, I did this, and then Ileana is just like, I fucking killed a bunch of people. I don't give a shit. Like
I have murdered
That she
many a
has.
man.
she's very Russian.
I like the take on her just because, again, what happened with her is her powers manifested early. Government got a hold of her and they started training her into to becoming a killing machine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when she says her little story about how
The smiley face man.
the smiley face men. Well, she just went apeshit and killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what she had done because she kind of figured out, okay, these people can't control me and they're trying to control me. Like, they can't stop me. So, you know what?
Then how does she end up here? Because that's the dumbest thing.
I know.
Ever to
I don't
me
know
then.
how she ended up
Then
there.
how does she end up working for basically a different government in a different country? Then, because that to me is like if you were raised by the government as a small child, then you know a lot of shit already.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, Red Sparrow, shit like that. Like you were taught at a young age and all that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that there's something, like, you're smarter than the average kid. So I think either way, she's smarter than the average, 17, 18 or whatever she's supposed to be in this movie. So then, like, how does she end up getting caught and stuck here again? Like that?
The only way I can think of the way they got her over there is be like, hey, we know you're trying to learn to control your powers. Come with us and we'll teach you.
No, I don't think so. I think she's there under, like, she's restricted there because she talks to Dr. Reyes and she's like, I've known men like you,
Yeah.
like, who like to torture small children. Like, she calls her out on it. She doesn't tiptoe around that. She doesn't want to be here. And she knows that there's a force field, so she's just stuck there. I don't know how they got her in there.
Okay, but then her being the one that actually has been like, I've murdered people and have no bones about it. Why would it take so fucking long?
And if she can, like,
Boom.
teleport with her space
That's
or
a
whatever.
movie mistake. She can go to limbo first,
Yeah.
then she can get out.
Yeah, then she
could
just
have got
goes
out
through.
anytime.
Yeah.
That's where
a
they
movie
did kind of mess
mistake,
up.
yeah.
Is because, she can go into limbo and pretty much manifest anywhere else she wanted to.
I have liked that actress. What's her name?
Anya Taylor.
Anya
Nancy
Taylor
Williams?
Joy.
Anya something. No.
No.
Ileana?
Yeah.
It's Anya Taylor Joy.
Yeah. I have liked her since The Witch. So I think she's a great actress and she puts a lot of herself into each of her parts, but I really like the way that they added in Lockheed,
Yeah.
the dragon. I really like that it was just like she was a crazy person who was just talking to herself.
It was her coping
Puppet.
mechanism.
The thing
Yeah,
that was
and I
funny
liked
is
it that
Kim-
And it was probably her only constant in life as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, so I liked that it was like a trauma laden
Her
like
trauma-
puppet kind
Yeah.
of a thing, you know?
The one thing that was funny is when Kim saw Locke, he's like, he's real. I was like, yeah, he's real. I knew all along that he was real.
Yeah.
It's her guide through limbo.
Yeah. So she basically manifested a guide kind of a thing and
No.
then created limbo or her entrance into limbo and found a friend.
No, yeah. Because, Lockheed was her, like, when she figured out how to get into limbo, she found Lockheed.
Yeah.
And Lockheed actually plays, like, a huge role in the limbo part.
I liked how he was just a puppet until the end. Until she's like, "I'm magic too, bitches. I'm gonna kill
I'm just
everybody."
gonna annoy this big bear.
Yes. I wrote down Danny dreams heavy. Because I like when the Dr. Reyes is watching her dream. And like she's not doing anything. She's just looking at her. But she's not watching any of the other patients either.
Well, that's because she was trying to figure out what her powers were. They really didn't know yet.
So is the Essex Corporation a big thing in the comics?
Oh, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's jumping way ahead, and I would have actually loved to have seen this in the actual movie. John Hamm was cast as Mr. Sinister, and he actually filmed. I don't know if it was an alternate ending or an additional ending, like a hidden ending, but they cut it. Because he was supposed to play a bigger role in the eventual sequels.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing
Josh
was...
Boone was planning a trilogy for this.
Yeah, he was. But I don't think it's going to happen, though. But I would have loved to have seen John Hamm as Sinister, because I've been waiting for Sinister to be in the movies ever since the first one in the 2000s.
See, that's I liked the cartoons, and then I got into those movies, but then I tried the first where they were young. What was that one?
First Class.
First Class. And that one I was just like, this is bad. Like everything about this is bad.
But again, if Josh Boone would have, if he could have had his way, I would have loved to have seen John Hamm's take on Sinister. Because the one thing that they did with him is, you could see it is, he would take mutants' DNA, figure that out, and then genetically modify them to be killers. I know that was one take on his thing, and I would have loved to have seen John Hamm.
So that's kind of like when Danny goes into Dr. Reyes's like memories, and she sees those kids being trained and shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what he's doing, basically taking the kids and.
That's the lab they have in Hawkins, Indiana.
Ah, gotcha.
There you go.
That's where they have the the upside down.
It's down to just 11 at that point.
And
Gotcha.
they loosely tied it. Did
Or
you
15,
see,
16 at the 2020, I guess.
Did you guys see Logan?
Yeah.
That was kind of like a little thing, because you saw how X-23 was being trained into all this.
Yeah, with the kids.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Gotcha.
So this was a precursor to before the kids got to the complex and Logan.
Aha. Okay.
So that was kind of the loose thing on
I've
there.
gone cross-eyed.
That's it, yeah. It's
This is
Too
why I
much,
can
man.
never get into comic books, because there's too many storylines to keep track of, and I'm just like, nope, I'm out.
and then when you run out of shit, you just open a new universe and start
Yeah,
all over again.
so I can't keep it track. I'm too all over the place. Oh, I wrote Danny doesn't get social cues, because Rain's like, I don't want to talk about the W on my back. Can we not talk about it? And Danny's just like, I like it. It's body art. Like, no, Danny.
No, it's not.
I love how Ileana let Danny run through the force field for the first time. I'm like, it's new girl hazing. You have to let everybody try.
No, she
Yep.
did. She fucking got her ass
like,
like,
run
oh,
faster.
She ate it hard. She got a
Run
bloody nose and
faster.
everything.
Boom.
I love how Danny doesn't back away from Ileana either.
Yeah.
She's just like, come on, bitch. Oh, you got your Pocahontas jokes. You're hilarious. Yes, we all did Pocahontas jokes in
Yes.
5th grade. All right. Maybe Ileana didn't know that because she's Russian and was raised by the government.
Yeah.
But somebody
She's
should have
new to-
taught her
she's
some,
new to America, okay?
some social things.
It was Sam was the only one that was, besides Danny at that point, but from the original ones, Sam was the only one that was actually like, from the U.S. So
Yeah.
that's her only source of U.S. culture, I think, is in the hospital.
And you know what? I like Sam's actor. What is his name?
Dude from Stranger Things.
Yeah, the Stranger Things guy.
I don't think that's his actual name.
Charlie Heaton. I do think
Chucky Heats.
that Charlie Heaton is a great actor. I do, however, think that his southern accent was not great.
It was.
He was supposed to be from Kentucky, so you had to find the...
I get that,
yeah.
but still, I was like,
It was
it's
like it was
not
too
natural.
much.
It was so thick that it wasn't
yeah.
natural to him.
Like it was like, you're just doing it to do it too much.
Yeah, it was a little rough, and I don't want to harp on it too much because I know accents are fucking hard to learn, especially like if you come from a British accent
Yeah.
to a Southern American accent.
But why does it matter? Is he British?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know he
Yeah.
was British.
Yeah, he's British.
Okay, but I'm saying, why does it matter if the kid was Southern or not? Like, you could have just not gave him an accent and it wouldn't have mattered. I'm like,
I know
Kentucky.
American audiences wouldn't have noticed.
I know, but if it's like I'm from like if someone came up to you and was like, I'm from Kentucky and they didn't have an accent, would you question it?
No.
Like, no one's gonna be like, no,
They
you're
did-
not.
Well,
Where's your accent?
to appease the comic book nerds, that's why they did it. Because you couldn't have Ileana and not have a Russian accent.
Okay, I get
And
that.
that I
She's
get,
from
'cause she's
Russia.
Russian.
She's from a different country.
But even in
you know?
Kentucky, you don't have to have like
yeah, like
And I
George
don't even
fucking Clooney was born in Kentucky. You don't
Yeah,
hear him
he
going all the fucking time in every movie.
Yeah, but the thing is, with a lot of the characters in the comics, you have to.
well, comic book nerds are ruining the
book
world.
nerds
Not
Okay,
necessarily.
comic book nerds don't know as much as they think, or they would be making their own fucking comic books.
boom.
They can.
Yeah, everyone
But
can.
either way,
but
though, they
people
can't-
don't, man.
They did it just as
To appease them.
Yeah, to appease the fans.
Well, I'm like, just let it go. Like, don't make it so hard. When you do it so hard,
They don't have
it
a
makes
dialect
it,
coach
I don't know.
on the film.
I'm sure
set,
they
like-
did, and when you try to make it that perfect, because that's what I think was wrong with it, is it was too Kentucky. It was too Kentucky, and I'm like, that's not natural to your mouth.
Then you know what? Then make it a comedic part of the movie and just do subtitles with him, and it's just like swamp people talk.
Subtitles,
There
yes,
you
that's
go.
what we needed.
That's
We
what it
needed
would've
swamp
been.
people talk.
He was like,
We're not being derogatory. That's what they like to be called, right? As swamp people.
Well,
There was
we-
a show about it here.
if
I'm
we have any
sure
swamp
they're
people that
okay
listen to
with
the
that.
show, I'm sorry if that offends you.
We're not talking about regional. We're just talking about swamp people in general.
I'm talking
Yeah?
about Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
Swamp
See,
Thing.
if that was Swamp Thing, should have had an accent too. Then
Swamp Thing needed an accent.
but he was an actual doctor though, so no.
He was an actual doctor. You know what part confused me? Is how, like, Ileana's character was there with Roberto's character. Because I got the whole, like, he was going to have his little, like,
Yeah.
fear, right?
Yeah.
That was his fear. But I'm like, why Ileana? And why not something,
Well,
why not
I
put
think
him back?
it was a convenient thing to do because you couldn't have like his girlfriend there not charred and then him
Yeah.
fall for that.
Well, yeah,
So-
but everybody, like, when Sam walked into that whole, like, underground or whatever,
Okay.
he was right away like, nope. And so I'm wondering why they didn't do that with
It's a
Roberto's
matter-
character.
It's a matter of convenience because the other two chicks were lesbians and she's the only other girl in there, and he's not going to start. I mean, he could have had a
I'm
fantasy
saying-
about the doctor.
I'm saying, why have another person there? Why not just have his fear like they did with everybody else? They didn't start it in another way for anybody else.
Because
but
how are you
him.
going to get his fear of when he's all horny with just him?
Well, his fear was that he killed his girlfriend. I
Yeah,
thought.
but his fear was he's going to kill someone because he gets horny.
Yes, that's what it was.
So you can't get horny by yourself in the pool if no one's there.
Then I
Yes.
don't believe his character, because if you're scared of getting horny, you're not flaunting your sexuality everywhere. So
Well, he wasn't. The
Boo.
ghost Ileana was flaunting her
no,
sexuality.
he was the whole time. I've had sex with so many girls. Like, that was his whole
Okay,
bravado.
No, but I took that more of like he was just embarrassed to admit that he's never had sex with anyone because they
Yeah,
don't think
he
they
was.
knew really.
Don't be embarrassed to that, folks. It's okay.
Well, he was like 20 years old. So
No,
it's
he
probably
wasn't.
like,
No.
whatever. 19,
He wasn't.
20,
No, he wasn't even supposed to be 19 or 20 in the movie,
They're also,
Paul.
in the movies, they're all supposed
Well,
to be.
they're
at
all
the-
fucking almost 30 in real life. Okay, how the fuck am I supposed to
in the
know?
movie, they're all supposed to be no older than 15.
Well, this is a farce. Then.
So, okay, so Ileana Rasputin, right? That's her name. Is
Yeah.
in the comic books, is she supposed to be related to the actual Rasputin?
No, she's Colossus' sister.
So her name is just coincidental?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's
Colossus
stupid.
Rasputin.
Yes.
Well, I did look it up that she was related to Colossus.
Yeah, that's his younger sister.
So then again, why does she end up here? Well, he's not.
Well, they're here
Oh,
too.
yeah, he's here too.
No,
he's
no,
with
no,
the
no.
X-Men.
I'm talking about in that fucking hospital.
Yeah, how did I wonder?
In this hospital specifically.
I know we need a prequel to her story.
To why Colossus
I
wasn't
would
there.
love that. Would be a great one
Yes.
if they did that. As her as a child, and you did the whole Russian thing, and she murders them and is on her own for a while. That could be a great story.
And I think that they think about killing Danny way too quickly. Like, I think they come to that conclusion like way too quickly before they've properly studied anything about her, because they
Well, they
really
did
don't
take-
know anything about
They
her
did
powers.
take the samples and everything, and they saw how it was affecting everyone else. I mean, they had some kind of clue, and I'm sure she's not the first one. They were like, "Nope, it's too risky. Fucking kill it."
Yeah.
Don't you know that's the first way to get them to kill you?
Yes.
Like,
I know. I
every
wanted,
movie has taught you anything.
I know. I wanted that doctor to be like, "Is this your first time killing someone that they told you to? Because you're doing a really shitty job."
You're really monologuing a lot.
Yeah, and I'm like, when you're giving all these hints, like we had to put the dog down.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm sitting here
I know,
strapped
and
with
I'm
my
like,
hands and shit. So
Danny,
like,
no, even Danny, when she starts, she's like, my mother was a vet, and I was like, that tone, nope, I know that tone, and
Like,
that's
wait,
I'm gonna
you?
kill your ass tone, because
Yeah.
my boss told me to. I'm out. Like, nope. Mm-mm. And I love how Rain just was like, nope, fuck you, Dr. Reyes, and starts like clawing the shit out of her. As soon as she pops out of that vent, she just goes for her. Because she stabs her.
Thing. See, that's my thing, too. I'm like, this can't be the first time that any of these kids be like, let's fucking kill this bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
No, and they all come to it really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, let's kill. And Ileana even drugs her, like, and has no bones about it.
Okay.
Like,
you know that wasn't the first time they did
No,
that. She's like,
like-
I just put it in her tea again.
like pick something else.
No,
She's going to get the tea hen.
Here's what they should have done. They should have fought with the doctor like they did. Okay, when you get up to that scene where the bear fucking comes and eats the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that, I wanted fucking Danny to learn how to use her powers and turn it all on the doctor.
That would have been cool.
Imagine how fucking creepy that would have been if like her fear was like they all kill her or like they're all coming to kill her and like the doctor just sees that and it's like they're all using their powers and like they all know how to use their powers to their fullest ability without hurting anyone.
Nope, see, I
that
went
they
darker.
don't want to. No, like I'm saying her fear is they all know how to use their powers the right way and they use it on her.
No, see, I
just
went
torture her.
I
But
went
it's all
darker.
in the mind though.
Yeah.
I went darker. I wanted Dr. Reyes to wake up and all the children she's ever committed to the Essex Corporation were there.
No,
and they were all standing there knowing their powers and getting ready to fuck her up.
No, see, like that's the
That's
thing.
what
No.
I wanted.
No, like they all come to attack her and they all like whatever, and then it gets dark and then the lights come back on and then it's all the kids she's murdered.
Yes, we need ghost children. That's what
Yes.
this movie needed was
See?
ghost children.
Yes.
You had the murdered children of all the ghosts.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and they were murdered.
Okay.
Like they were dead. They
We
weren't
need-
like healthy looking
Okay,
children. I
we
wanted
need-
them to be
we
like
just
dead
we just need to
children.
make a movie with Josh Boone. All right?
Yes,
I'm
Josh
gonna
Boone.
reach out to his
Call
people.
us.
Okay. I'm gonna-
We have no money or any know-how to make a movie, but let's do this shit. All right.
You
Let's
have
do
the
it
money.
true.
We have the stories. I
Yes.
promise we won't get interfered with. No
Yes.
one's gonna give a shit what we do.
Exactly.
We may not have any name or credibility, but let's do this.
We couldn't. Yeah, we didn't butcher this. Ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I feel bad for him. Like, I'm going to be like, listen, I get it, man.
Studios
sucks.
and you know what, Fox and
Yeah.
as well
a
as
studio that didn't know what the fuck they were doing
Yeah.
and had to sell all their assets. Yeah, told you didn't know what the fuck you were doing.
Yeah.
as a creative
And ruined your
person.
money.
Yes.
Ruined your movie.
Sorry about that. That happens.
I
That's happened with
digress.
a lot of the horror movies that we've even talked about.
I know.
Is studio interference. It's a common
See,
theme
this
throughout
is
the
what happens.
industry.
And you know what? I get it. It's like, okay, it's like I own an NFL team, right? And I sign a quarterback, number one quarterback in the league. But then I tell him what to do.
yeah.
They'll be like, no, you know what the fuck
No.
you're doing? That's what I pay you
You
for.
signed
Yes.
them because of their talent,
Yes.
not because of
Exactly. So like it's fucking film is
It's
too much of a
very-
business. Like there's too
it
many
is.
executives that make stupid ass decisions that don't know what the fuck's going on in life.
And I think a lot of directors, because I've heard directors talk badly about test screenings because sometimes they're not worthy of anything. Like they don't give
Yeah.
you any good
Yeah,
feedback.
'cause it's
They're,
like,
they're just an
who-
antiquated thing to do.
Yes, like who is test screening these fucking movies? You're getting people that are on vacation at fucking Universal Studios
Yeah.
and like, hey, you want to see a free movie? And
Yeah.
then tell us what you think about it. What if they're not comic book fans? What if they don't know any
Exactly.
of this
Yeah.
fucking story? And all of a sudden they're like, well, that just ain't Stanford.
yeah.
And
so
they're like, oh, we have to change this now, Josh. I'm sorry.
I don't
It's
get
weird.
that process.
Have you ever done a test screening?
We
I
have.
did a couple times.
Yeah.
I've
we've
I've done it once. So knowing how they do test screenings, again, it's like how kind of feedback do you get because you go in this blindly not knowing what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you know what it is after the fact, it kind of not necessarily, it changes your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like Paul said, I mean, the people who did the test screening for this, how many of them were comic book fans and how many of them were horror fans? Mm-hmm. So with that, it's
How
like,
many of them wanted to see a free movie on their vacation?
but with that information, like, I mean, what really can the people who are making the movie make based on that? Because it's,
I know, because it's like, I get it if you screen it for 200 people and 150 of them say the same exact fucking thing, then okay, maybe
Yeah.
we've got a problem.
Then
Yeah.
that's an issue.
But I guarantee you, out of 200 people, if you have just random selections of people, they're not all gonna say the same fucking thing. Or
Exactly.
if they're all saying the same fucking thing, then the movie wasn't meant for them to begin with.
yeah.
And who at Fox was like, this is too scary because that person needs to be kicked in the balls.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking with the test
Not
screening.
realistically, don't kick anybody in the balls. I'm just kidding.
Because I know, like I said, they did a few test screenings. The first one they liked, but then they had the whole shit show of the Dark Phoenix. So
Yeah.
they did the reshoots. They put them in there.
So yes, the test screenings were great, but then this other movie that we probably meddled too much in got fucked up. So let's fuck it with this one more.
I don't know the Dark Phoenix story, but I know that it was way overhyped
Yes.
because it was fucking everywhere. They spent a shit ton of money on fucking marketing and advertising because that fucker was everywhere. And even when it did come out, people who liked it were just like, meh, like it's okay.
I hated it. I hated the Dark Phoenix one. I never was a fan of it in the comics.
Yeah.
And in the cartoon. So when they did it again, I'm like, why are they doing this? Because it wasn't very good in the third X-Men movie, and it wasn't very good in the Dark Phoenix that one. So I'm like, why do they keep trying to make this one right when it just doesn't translate well into film?
Yeah, I don't get it. I liked the original one in the third film. But I like Famke.
She's good.
She's a great actress. I liked her as Jean Grey.
But I mean, with this movie, again, we've said it before and we'll keep saying it again, is I really wish we could have seen the true first cut of this movie.
Yeah.
I think they owe it to some people to see, okay, this is what we initially wanted, this is what we shot, and this is what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. They should, like, with a lot of the movies we've done, not just with this one, but maybe 5 or 6 of the other ones that we've done, let the director release the version that they wanted to and let the people decide.
I know. We all want original cuts. We're sick of the studio interference shit.
Like with Superman, the Donner cut, they had the studio one and they had the Donner cut. I wish they would do that with a lot of the movies that people keep saying that, oh, why won't they release what the director wanted?
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, they owe it to some people because, I mean, you're going to spend all that money in filming it and all of a sudden decide, okay, we're not going to go that way at all and do it this way.
I really think that they owe it to each director to give them that option because they, like we said, they hired them for their talent. They should at least put a little thought and effort into of giving them what they originally wanted for that idea and give them the money to release that cut.
Here's the thing I think directors should be doing. All right. From now on, when you sign on to do a big blockbuster movie this way, put a clause in your contract that says, if there's too much studio interference, I have the rights to release a director's cut straight to Blu-ray.
But we don't know about the whole union and shit like that, so
See,
that might be
like
a different thing.
Stuff like that would make
Hey,
sense, though, but I think the only
why
ones...
not? So what's the problem with that? Because if the studio thinks you need to change this, we need to change this, we need to change this, then you change the movie and that's what's released in theaters, right?
Yeah.
But then if you have an alternate version that's director's DVD, you're not losing money on having
I'm not
that.
arguing with you at all. I'm just saying I don't know the legality of it with the unions.
Okay, but it has nothing to do with unions.
It does, though, because every contract does.
That's not what you know what you're talking about.
Okay.
How many films have you been on?
2.
That's my thought.
Yeah, I think our episode's going to be a little short. Like we said, this isn't a straightforward horror movie, and they cut so much of it. Like we said, it was the shortest X-Men film. So we're kind of running out of things to talk about. We've talked about all their characters. We've talked about the progression and the issues that we had with the film.
Let's talk about the ending then.
Okay, let's talk about the ending and
We've
then
already
the
kind of-
demon bear.
We've already talked about the demon bear coming and
Killing
eating,
Dr. Reyes.
Eating Dr. Reyes. Every time you say Dr. Reyes, I always think of fucking The
Doctor.
Simpsons. No, the Simpsons episode where they're doing that Broadway production of Planet of the Apes, and it's like Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
We'll have to
Speaking
find
of
a
things
clip
that
of
reminded me, Danny's dad, who did you think of when you saw him immediately?
I was immediately like, it's Adam Beach. 'Cause
I
that's the guy's real name.
I know it's Adam Beach, but I know the movie I can't ever picture him not in is Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
Is kicking
I
in.
always think of that Wind Talkers movie first.
It's completely different because he was
Yeah.
so tiny in that Wind Talkers movie because he was
It
so
was like,
young.
yeah, forever ago.
Yeah, it was. He
I
was
just
so
think
young.
Kicking Wing from Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, we're gonna
I
get
looked
so
it up
busted.
because I was like, who is that? Where is he from? And I kept I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, okay, Joe Dirt. That's where I see him.
That's all I think I'm thinking.
Yeah. With his fireworks.
Again, another great actor underutilized for
So
like
underutilized.
4 minutes of screen
Yes.
time. Like, Danny, wake up, go hide over there. Danny, get off your ass and go help your friends.
I know. He's a great actor. He could have been utilized more, even in flashbacks.
Yes.
Okay, here's what I want. Change this now. He needed to come in and find a way to get into there, and then he murders Dr. Reyes.
I like Dr. Reyes' death though, and how her
or his ghost with the ghost children.
with the
murders
ghost
Dr.
children.
Reyes.
I'm down
Yes,
with that.
That's one.
I like how the demon bear ate Dr. Reyes, and then her force field's gone.
Yes.
I mean, think about how much power you're gonna have to use to like keep force fields going.
How do you keep a force field going while you're drugged?
I don't know.
That's my other thing.
Yeah,
too.
because
I'm
like the whole one over the building, because Danny and Rain went outside and laid on the grass when it was raining and saw the force field because all
Yes.
the little rain droplets
'Cause
were on
they
the
were
force
like,
field. So I'm like, yeah,
"Let's
you're
go."
out completely drugged and you're still like cognitive enough to keep a force
Let's
field
see
on?
the raindrops over the force field when we make out in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm. For the first time.
Yes.
I've never done it before.
I know, and if they're supposed to be 13, I'm like, why are they making out outside though?
Child porn. See, this is why you have to hire 25-year-olds.
25-year-olds to play.
'Cause when they kiss in the graveyard, it's child porn.
Yeah, when they did that, I wrote, are they going to make out on some guy's grave? Because they totally do, because they're in a cemetery. Like, you know, it's on graves.
They start making out, and Danny gets a lady boner, and
Her powers come out.
her powers come out. All of a sudden, you hear there's a guy in the grave. Like, can you do that somewhere else,
Can
please?
you go somewhere else?
The only thing I was disappointed though with Rain is that you didn't see her. You either saw her as a full-on dog or a human. Like you didn't see what I'm used to in the comics and her being in the in-between.
Yeah, and I was confused when you first see the wolf. I was like, where'd that wolf come from? Because they didn't explain it at all the
I
first
was like,
time you see it.
I didn't know it was her, but I'm like, who is that? I thought it was the
Dude, I thought it was Roberto.
I thought it was the doctor at first.
No,
actually.
see, I thought it was Roberto at first. And like, because the first glimpse you see of Rain is in the vent where she's looking and she's got the eyes, but that doesn't fucking mean anything. That's just eyes. And so I was like, I don't know what her power is other than she's in a vent.
She can see in the dark.
Yeah, and then Danny runs out, and then there's just, I'm like, why is there a wolf there? That's nothing. But yeah, once they kind of like, once she gets wolfy and once she gets hairy and stuff, then I'm like, okay, I get
There's
it.
a couple scenes where she's kind of in between, and it reminded me of that. Was it the Geico commercial or the one where the witch lady turns the girl into
the
like a half
cat?
cat?
Yeah, where they get a witch roommate. Think of the
Needs more
dumbest shit.
salt.
I liked her in between though. I like how she utilized her realistic powers. Like she's like, I can smell her. She's over there.
I know. She's like, I can smell. Like, when they're like, how do you know she's over there? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm a wolf.
I can smell her. She's
Smell
right
her.
there.
See in the dark. I pee in the corner. What the fuck, man? Like,
I did think that they did all of their.
Can she eat chocolate?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
But can wolves eat chocolate, or is that just a dog thing?
I think it's a dog thing.
Well, aren't wolves canine?
I do
They're
not
in
know.
the canine family.
I did not research this in college. I do not
See,
know.
We need a witch and a veterinarian.
And a veterinarian.
We have questions like always.
We need a witch on
We're
call.
inquisitive.
But I did like their powers. I thought Ileana was just, I mean, Ileana was cool as shit. Let's not lie. She's cool. Even with her fucking crazy ass talking to herself with a dragon puppet. She's just cool. She's just got that bravado. She's a bad bitch. She knows it. She doesn't have to tell people about it.
Nope.
Roberto was the opposite. He had to tell everybody about it, but he was so hidden and so like actual Roberto was very quiet and very reserved versus his outwardly like I'm rich kind of dude.
I did like how they did make him a rich snob because
Yeah.
he does come from a rich family in Brazil.
Yeah, and I love how he's just giving Sam shirts. He's like,
Yeah.
here, it's dirty, take it.
See, then why would he ever have to go there if he's rich?
Well, he killed somebody.
Yeah, he killed
Yeah,
his girlfriend.
but-
And I think that they get them
Hello,
with
it's
fear.
Brazil, though.
Yes, but I think that what happened is the Essex Corps uses fear.
But if you have money, it doesn't matter in Brazil.
I don't
His
know.
parents sent him there
To cure
as
him
a
is
cure.
what
Okay, so
Sam
they,
says.
they were fooled into
Yes.
it then, basically.
Yeah. Basically, we'll cure your son if you send him to this place.
See, I think it's because they were all putting up their fronts, like their like guard wall. So his was like the rich snob.
Yeah.
whatever
I'm just here
guy.
until my parents decide I
Yeah,
can come
and
home
see,
kind of a
and
thing. Yeah.
Ileana's was just like, I've murdered people.
Yes. A lot of people are very bad, and now I have to be bad because
will
those
kill
fuckers are
you.
bad.
Yes.
Oh, me and Lockheed will kill you.
Kill you. And yeah, she's just like, demon bear, let's do this. And she fucking fights the demon bear like a badass she is.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
I like Sam's power too, the cannonball.
What the fuck is his power?
He just
Basically, he just shoots like a
shakes
cannonball.
He's
It is a
he's
cannonball.
indestructible. Once he's in his
Then how is he
power-
always hurt?
Because he beats himself up.
Yeah, he was beating himself up. When he's in his full mode, yes, but when it's just the hands, he can hurt himself because
Yeah.
it's not full body.
Once he's like when he's 100%,
you know, powers.
when he's 100% in Cannonball, he's indestructible. But when he was making his hands indestructible, his face wasn't. So that's why he kept punching himself and giving himself all these bruises and broken bones.
Yeah, and he
But with his power, the thing that I didn't understand with him being indestructible, how come he wasn't able to get out of those force fields?
Yeah, he does, like, he puts his arm up and he's stuck in them at the end. When she comes at the end and she does them all when she's trying to suffocate Danny, he gets his arm out and his arm is out.
That's true.
And it stays out the whole time.
But he still could have done that when he was outside.
But they don't mention it at all.
Why not put the other arm in?
But maybe he's never
Spread it
tried
out.
because he felt he needed to be there because he killed his
Well,
dad.
no, okay. No. She does have that line in there. She's like, "You don't think people will be looking for
Yeah.
you? Like you know
So
what
they're
you did."
all,
like,
and even with Danny,
So I think,
she kind of puts in that fear too. It's
but
like,
his was the only one that I'm like, okay, legitimately, like a lot of dudes died in the mine or whatever.
Yeah.
And the way that she's like, "You don't think they're still looking for you?" or like that. So I'm like, his is like the only legitimate one that I'm like, his fear of like going to prison or like whatever. Like I get that, especially if he's like he's poor and has nowhere to go. Like the fuck's he gonna do? But like the rest of them, like murdered people. You're rich. I don't know how you would end up here from Ireland, but okay.
I think it was kind of like she killed the priest and then they found her. Because she says, my boss has a unique way of finding mutants when they present themselves. So every time they presented themselves in that huge event, they found them and took them.
If everything that they have and the technology they have just in that hospital, like with just the cameras are able to scan and all that.
See power. Like how the fuck are you going to do that?
So I'm saying there's probably, I'm sure they have some sort of global tracking thing. It's like, oh, there's, this level of whatever power.
Mutantness over there.
Whatever like levels they were measuring on that fucking the M gene.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they call
whatever it was. When they said that my boss has this unique way, it just like took me back to Professor X and Cerebral, and they just pop up everywhere. Like that's what I was assuming. But then when they talk about the Essex Corp later, and they're like, nope, I was like, okay, it's darker. It could have been so much darker. Because I was on board with them being like, oh, she's just training us to be X-Men. So I was on that line for a while until I was like, okay, she's gonna put down Danny. That's not it's bad. That's a bad one. But yeah, no, the whole like storyline changed when they were like, oh, she's just training us to be X-Men, and I was like, meh.
So at no point Colossus would have been like, yeah, my sister's training at your other school. Like, what other school?
I don't think Colossus knew though that his sister was anywhere.
We need to call somebody about this.
He doesn't find out that his sister's a mutant until way later.
I guess
Because she's a lot younger than him.
Yeah, and the government just took her ass and just buried her somewhere until she got out. And then the other guy, Sinister, I guess, was like, that one, I need her. Go get that one. She's got a dragon. Go get her. But they all... Even Ileana's with her big ass, big ball powers, like she can't take down Danny's demon bear. Danny has made this fucking demon bear so like hardcore.
Well, they
because
don't
it
get enough
feeds off the
exercise.
fear. That's the other thing about it, though, too.
Yeah,
the more they got scared of it,
So
the more stronger
basically,
it got.
they had to yell at it like in chapter 2.
Yeah, you just had to call it a
You had to
sloppy
make
bitch,
fun
and then
of
it would
the
go
bear.
away. Bitch, you're a sloppy bear.
Yes.
You stupid vegan bear.
Vegan bear. Aw. And no, Danny's just like, there, bear. And then it goes away.
Like, it's okay.
It's okay, bear. Go
Does
back
she
to
get
sleep.
to control the bear? Can
Yes.
she make the bear kill people?
Yes.
Is what I want.
Yes.
She does,
She can.
doesn't she?
Yeah.
She kills people at some point. Yeah.
She ends up controlling the bear eventually.
Yeah.
Because there is a whole storyline with Demon Bear, and everybody kind of shit on it, and it was funny that they put it in the movie.
I like Demon Bear. It went with the whole Native American past, and it went with the
No,
setting.
I
And
didn't care for the bear.
No, I liked it.
I wanted them to have to face a legion of Wendigos at the end.
Wendigos would have been cool.
That would have been horror.
Wendigos would have been way more horror.
would have been more Native American too.
It would
I
have.
get the bear and the symbolism and the fucking story, but I guess you really can't have a story about Wendigos and not being afraid. if
Yeah,
you're a
and
little
speaking
kid.
of which, that Wendigo movie that
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro is producing is pushed again from its February spot. Ugh, I've been waiting on that one. I
See,
do
so
love
we
a
have
good
to
Wendigo
wait
story.
even longer from Wendigos.
But anyway, this movie, The New Mutants, it had issues. It had studio interference. It had COVID issues. It had reshoot issues. It had studio acquisition issues. It was a perfect storm of everything that could have went wrong with the film. I mean, short of just making a movie so big that you fucking bankrupt your whole company, like the Gina Davis movie that we're not talking about.
The thing that I thought that was actually going to happen
Cutthroat
with this
Island?
movie was that I honestly didn't think it was ever going to get released.
It would have if it would have been better, I feel, had it just released on a streaming thing. Like, just release it on a streaming thing after, March happened and everybody started to see how long we were going into this, like come May even, you could have been like, okay, we're just going to put this out. I don't understand why studios took so long to get to the streaming premieres.
The thing that I know that happened with this, though, too, is like, I mean, the studios really didn't know what to do with it. Like, you can see you can see I'm now watching it, it's like, how could they have promoted it? Could they have promoted it as a true horror movie, which we know it wasn't?
They couldn't have, because they took too much horror out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it lost all horrorness, and it wasn't a true mutant film because it doesn't belong anywhere in with the rest of them.
I think they should have just released it, because I think part of it was the fact that they kept getting pushed back is what I think gave all these people the curiosity to be like,
The longer it was.
yeah, the longer
The
it
worse, like the hype or whatever. I mean, if it was hype or whatever, but just the anticipation or whatever made it even worse for what it was. I mean, it would have been different if the movie was better and probably way that originally was meant to be. But
like I said, I'm not a huge comic book fan, so I'm not in the comic book nerd circles. But I am in the horror nerd circles, and horror nerds wanted to see this as a horror movie. They wanted to see what Josh Boone could bring to these powers and how it could be horror. And once we got kind of the details out of it and we knew which characters they were setting up, horror fans were still very much on board.
Yeah.
So when are we going to get a horror superhero movie? Because they
The
keep
big
saying it's
rumor-
going to be, is it Morbius? They keep saying
They
Doctor
said Morbius.
Strange, I don't even think
like-
it's going to be that. They're talking about it more so being Doctor Strange.
Doctor
but
Strange, and then what's the other one? Then Blade's coming.
Blade. But the thing about it, though, is you need to commit fully to a horror movie.
Yeah, if you're gonna call it a
If you're
horror,
going to call it one.
if you're gonna even say it's the horror movie of the Avengers, right? It's the first one. Then it needs to be committed to fucking horror.
You need to commit. I think where they made the mistake with this one is the fact that they put in the superheroes and they decided to make it more into an X-Men movie rather than to a horror movie.
Yeah.
That's my fear of what will happen with Doctor Strange is it's going to have those horror elements and they can say, oh, it's going to be the first true superhero horror movie. But you do that, you're going to alienate a whole lot of people because you always have the people who are going to say, I will not watch horror movies because they're too scary.
Well, fuck those people.
Yeah.
Well, then you don't tell those people it's a horror movie. You
No,
just say we're going
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
That's my fear of what will happen with Doctor Strange is that they're going to say that, oh, it's going to be a horror movie, but I have a feeling it's going to run kind of parallel to what's going on with the New Mutants, where you have the superheroes with hints of horror to it, not fully commit 100% to it. And I think once you do get a movie where you're like, okay, let's commit fully 100% to horror, then we can finally see a good superhero horror movie.
Yeah, and you also have to realize that horror from our generation to this new generation has gone through a complete 180.
Yeah.
They like the Blumhouse kiddie horror.
I don't.
They enjoy that MTV style of, horror. And so it made, us horror fans who were born in the 80s grew up on 80s horror, and it's the slash, the blood, the practical effects. But even with the Conjurings and stuff, it's all off-screen horror. It's not in-your-face horror. It's not buckets of blood that we're used to. It's little hints of horror.
I'm making a movie.
The closest movie that actually came to being one is 30 Days of Night. It was based on a graphic novel, and I think that's really the only way you can do a horror movie without having like the well-known superheroes.
Yeah. I liked 30 Days of Night. I thought the vampires were interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't look like usual vampires, and they were vicious. They were just there to eat. That's all they were there for.
That's the only way I think you can do it when you have a comic book, graphic novel movie, and a horror movie is you have to have that.
Yeah.
You can't have these characters and say, oh, we're going to throw horror elements into it. The only other one that you think you can probably do that with is probably Blade.
Yeah.
And that's only because of the vampire lore.
Do vampires have flowing blood in their veins?
We've talked about this on multiple podcasts.
Because now I'm thinking, wouldn't they just freeze in Alaska
We've talked about this, Paul.
So
Go back to those episodes and relive that then. But anyway.
I still have questions, man.
Well,
No
until
answers.
vampires are real, we are not going to have answers.
Get Reverend Craig on the phone.
Reverend Craig. But that's it for this week, guys. That was New Mutants. And finally, that was New Mutants, finally. And it wasn't as great as the 6 release date pushes. And we'll just say that. And it's probably due specifically to studio interference.
Here are my final thoughts on it. If you're a fan of the X-Men movies, the X-Men comic books, you will enjoy it. If you go into this movie thinking that it's going to be horror, you're not going to enjoy it because it's more of an X movie than it is a horror movie.
Yeah, it was definitely
And that-
superhero.
That to me was the biggest disservice to this movie, knowing that it could have been a more darker, truer horror movie without studio interference.
I agree.
I just want to say that it was a good movie, not a great movie. You can definitely see the bones of horror. You can read all the things that, Josh Boone wanted to do. He wanted to make it a trilogy, and somehow aliens were going to come in the third one. Don't know how this was going to work. It's just what I read.
Like aliens?
Aliens. He was going to...
Xenomorphs?
No.
He was going to... Not
It would have been an invasion
of-
aliens,
Oh, okay.
Like just aliens from
I'd be
outer
like, what a
space.
fucking crossover.
No, the crossover I thought it was Essex Corp was owned by the same parent company as the Umbrella Corporation, and then you've got a
Get
crossover.
zombies.
It gets super
There you
crazy. I
go.
can tell you what the plans of it was with the alien invasion.
That's okay. We don't need to go.
We don't
into
have
that.
that much time.
Yes.
If it was xenomorphs, I would have been down, but no.
Yeah, xenomorphs, and then you needed the predator to come down to
Yes.
fight and help them.
Yes.
It was a big thing, so they
Yes.
ruined it.
This is what I need.
But yeah, it's a good movie. It's not great. Don't go into it expecting anything. Just enjoy it. And
yeah, it's a good movie. It's not bad.
Yeah.
yeah, it's still a good time. It's still good entertainment, and you'll have fun with it. And you just think about all the things it could have been.
Yeah, but definitely, like I said, it gave me horror blue balls, and a couple movies have done that to me, but this one for sure. I needed more horror. I needed to be at least creeped out or be like, that's creepy. Like, I need something
Yes.
in there to be like, yes, horror. This is what
I
horror
like
is.
the smiley face guys, but that's really about the only
Yeah.
real horror.
And they underutilized them
elements.
as well. Like,
Yeah.
I needed them to pop out more. And I didn't like when they were more mobile in the last couple scenes and they
Yeah.
were like chasing them. I was like, no, make them creepier. You don't see them move as much. That's always creepier.
They needed to come out of stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, imagine if they came out of shadows of like the wall and shit. Like that's really like that's there. That's
See, Jeepers Creepers was great. The first one was great because you didn't see the creeper. The second one, you're like, I'm watching his face for 15 minutes. No, thank you.
yeah. And okay, well, let's not talk about Jeepers Creepers,
Yeah.
'cause
We have a whole other
a whole
tangent.
issue with the second one when I'm like, chop his head off and then you just stare at him, let him get a new head.
Yep.
You fucking idiots.
But that's it for this week's 2020 movie. It was supposed to be a 2018 movie, then a 2019 movie, and then a 2020 movie. It finally
Yes.
came out, even
Yes.
though it was towards the latter part of 2020.
Hopefully by
It wasn't even the
2021 we'll
beginning.
get a director's cut.
Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully. But next week, I think we're coming back to you with The Invisible Man. Everybody loved this one. And that one actually came out before COVID. That was a
Yes.
pre-COVID horror film that
When the
came
world
out.
was still normal.
Yes. You remember that? Oh, good times.
No, I don't.
But anyway, we will see you guys next week. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at podcast@scarynerd.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/scarynerd. And that is it for this week. We will see you guys next week. Remember, email us at podcast@scarynerd.com if you guys want any stickers, any other fun stuff, anything else, guys.
Just email us to know if the fucking email is working because
Send
we've
no
only got a
emails,
few
guys.
emails.
We want to hear from
Yes.
you. You guys are really great at giving us reviews, but
Yes.
we need emails. We want to connect with you. We love you.
Yes.
I mean, I don't really know you, so I hope you're a good person.
I'm
but
not
I-
ready to
I
commit
kind-
to love right away, but
Well, I wear
We
my
wanna
heart
hear
on my
from you.
sleeve, so please email me.
Please.
But that's it for this week, guys. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.